Hello do-it-yourselfers, Terry Peterman, your internet electrician, and I'm going to tell you a little story about how this basketball court and basically an underused facility kind of turned around and became the hub of the community here in Playa Junquillal, Costa Rica. Stay tuned and we'll tell you all about it. All right, so where to start, where to begin? Well, this is the facility that was built by the association. It's called the Asociación de Desarrollo Integral. That's the community group that kind of looks after the procurement of funds from the municipality to do community things, fund buildings, fund playgrounds, etc. around the communities. Each of the little communities here in Costa Rica have an ADI that control these kind of things. So this particular ADI, the Playa Junquillal, they had this building built. It was a washroom facility. Over behind the camera there is a covered basketball area. And basically it was kind of underused. They had power installed to it, and there's a meter in behind the camera, or behind the camera there's a meter base, and they had a 100 amp service supplied over to this tiny bathroom, which is a nice facility, men's and women's, but 100 amp was largely overkill, and only a 4-circuit panel in there to handle a few LED lights and a few other electrical outlets here. And what happened is right after installation, some clever thieves got the notion to, along with some other places along the community here, steal the copper cables. With the price of copper and the desperation of some people, they decided that they needed that wire more than the association did. So one night they went down the beach area, wherever they could, they shut off power, cut the lines, pulled them out of the ground, and I guess they sold the copper somewhere. So what a shame that was. Now, how they did it here with this washroom facility, they peeked in the windows at the back, saw where the panel was, so they couldn't get in the window, so they came around and broke the door down, which is a heavy metal door. They opened the panel, cut the cables, went over to the meter socket at the meter cabinet here, and they probably cut them there and then tied on. They took the panel and they tied on to the wires with a vehicle likely and drove off down the road dragging the cables behind them. So they got somewhere around $2,000–3,000 worth of cable out of that. And of course, when that happens, the community has no more money to put that back together. So the story continues. Hang on. So it was a couple years ago that a good friend of mine, Terry Easton, was here. He comes down here with us. This is where we spend our winters in Costa Rica. And we were looking for a facility to do pickleball. Pickleball is a huge national sport through the US, Canada, and growing throughout the world. And Terry is an avid pickleball player, and so he has done some facilities, helped out get some clubs started in Mexico, and now again here in Playa Junquillal. So one day we had a look at the basketball facility here. This was a couple years ago, and thought it just wasn't suitable. The concrete was way too rough for pickleball. Well, in the meantime, when they did these improvements, they also did a little bit of reparation on the concrete. So the next time we looked at this here in the fall, it was found to be, with a little bit of patching of some rough spots and some holes and digging out some styrofoam chunks and rocks that were made big pits in the concrete, decided that it could probably be made into a pickleball court. So Terry approached the community with his idea, and they said, sure, if you want to use it for that, go ahead. And he jumped right at it. So from the day we decided to get at this, him and a few of our friends had said, yeah, we think we can do it. We can sell some memberships for just a nominal fee and pay for the improvements. Next morning, Terry had a pressure washer hired, pressure washed the whole court, filled all the holes, smoothed it out, drew and painted the lines, and within 5 days they were playing pickleball. A miraculous thing here in Costa Rica, really anywhere, to get that done in such a short period of time. So he had a bunch of volunteers helping out, and they also put some windscreen up. You can see there's this, they call it saran, it's like a windscreen. We got some bamboo, thank you Bill over at Tierra Pacifica. So Bill provided some bamboo, they cut, they dragged, they brought it here. We contributed, a bunch of us, to put the Saran on for a windscreen, because we do get a lot of winds here, especially in the summertime, or winter in Norte Americano, but summer here, verano. So, entonces, the court was done, a pickleball net was ordered, paddles were brought in for people to buy, memberships sold. We're like somewhere around 50 members, and here we have it, a beautiful pickleball facility. Now you're going to wonder why the internet electrician is talking about a pickleball court in Costa Rica. Well, that's where I come in. We decided then that lighting this facility up, now that we had the power restored, and I get better back up a little bit. So that's where I came in. I decided I'd get the power back up to this place. So we decided to raise funds. We would sell lights. So we've got 16 lights around the facility. Lighting would be a good addition. It would make people use it at night when it's cooler. So we sold lights. We sponsored them. People could buy them, a sponsorship for $100 a light, and that covered the cost of new cable from the meter socket all the way over to the bathroom. And then with everything powered up again, we installed the lights. Now, this has been a huge success, and we'll tell you more about that with the party we had just the other night. We'll show you clips and footage from that with the entire community, expats and Ticos alike, having a great time here in the new facility. So let me start with what I had to do as far as the electrical goes. And this was a volunteer job, of course, and the people paid for the materials and for all the materials and the lights with their sponsorship of the lights. So we have, I think right now we're sitting at 10 lights sponsored out of the 16. So thank you everybody who contributed to that. It's been a great project. Let me talk to you about how I went about changing this, so maybe that the copper wires aren't so valuable and so much of a target for theft. Okay, getting back to the electrical then. So here is the meter cabinet. There's a meter in there with a 100 amp breaker. I assume there was a panel at the time when the theft happened. So it was gone, but they ran 100 amps over 40 meters or so over to the bathroom, 100 amp service. They used like number 2 copper, so that wire was extremely valuable. So when I looked at this project, I thought, why would you need 100 amps over at a 4-circuit panel in the bathroom when you've got just some LED lights? We're talking maybe 100 watts total over there. So I decided to downgrade the wire size and put a panel in here again, and we only went with 10 gauge. So number 10, 30 amp service over there, 120, 240 volt to the bathroom, plenty, even overkill at that. But now we've only got 10 gauge wires running through the ground here over there. So if those get happen to be taken by somebody who needs them more than we do, it's not a big deal to replace them because they're not that expensive as opposed to number 2 copper is. So put a new panel inside this meter cabinet. I'll show you a shot from in there. Fed this little receptacle out here with a 15 amp 2-pole split receptacle. In behind me here, I'll show you, is a camp kitchen that needs a little bit of work. Kind of got undermined by water and sunk a little, so hopefully they'll level that up and they can reuse that, and then I'll probably volunteer to put some power over to that. They're also going to have some exercise equipment out here. So when I did the wiring, I put a junction box up in the top of the building here, so that they can have a light over the exercise equipment as well. So that's the story on the service end of things. Let me show you around a little bit more, and we'll show you inside the meter cabinet, and we'll show you the lights themselves, and I'll continue with the rest of the story. So here's the end of the facility. You'll notice the Saran, the windscreen, has got a few tears into it. That happened with the combination of the wind and probably a couple soccer balls kicked a little hard at it. But hey, it's being used by the kids of the community, the young adults, and it's great to have. Keeps them away from the corner store and getting into trouble. They're here at night playing basketball instead of doing silly stuff. So anyway, there's that junction box I left right up there in the peak. That'll be for the outdoor light. That will be a light up the area here for this exercise equipment that has been procured from the municipality and is soon to be installed. And again, looking from the other direction, here's the meter cabinet. I'll open that up and show you the panel I put in, and the cooking facility or camp kitchen facility in behind that. And over to the right is where they will have the exercise equipment, and I think that'll be installed sometime before next summer season. All right, now here is the pièce de résistance. This is the finished facility. All the pickleball lines are down. We have a portable net that we set up. All the lighting across the top of the purlin there. We got 8 lights on each side, each of them sponsored by somebody for $100, and that covered all the costs of the installation of all the electrical. So there's one of the lights. It's a little tough to see with the bright background, and I'm not sure you can read it or not, but below it is a name bar, which each one of these lights has a name bar below it. And painted on there, thank you, Susan. On my light in particular, it says Terry P, Instalador de Luz. So, installer of the lights is what I've got now in infamy on the ceiling or the walls of this facility. So thank you guys for recognizing that. It was my pleasure. And again, not sure if you can see it, but the one beside mine is Terry Eyston, Terry Penticton, or as he's known here, Terry Dos, Terry number 2. He had the vision, and he's the volunteer that put this whole thing together, along with all the volunteers, too numerous to mention. All right, and here's where we put the switch for the outside lights so the kids can get at them in a weatherproof cover here. Weatherproof cover with 2 modular receptacles inside there, as well as the switch for the lights for the nighttime. Here we are inside the women's washroom. This is where we store the equipment now. And we got a cage coming so we can lock it up and they can use the facility as it's designed to be used as a washroom. So this is the ladies' washroom. Here's that panel. This is a window they tried to climb in through and found it too fortified, so they ended up busting the door down. Open that panel, cut the wires, and jerk them out of the ground. So now, like I mentioned, it's only 10 gauge wire over here. We have 3 circuits, one for the bathrooms, one for the receptacles outside, and one for the outdoor lights. All right, so as promised, here's inside the meter cabinet. Got the panel I installed, 15 amp 2-pole for a split receptacle outside for utility power, and a 30 amp 2-pole to feed 12240 over to the bathrooms to that 4-circuit sub panel over there. And here is the 100 amp main to shut it all down. There's my new friend Anthony, just showed up to play a little basketball. And that thing is 2 points. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up my story of the volunteer electrical project and the pickleball development project here in Costa Rica, Playa Junquillal. As I said, here's Pickleball Costa Rica and our little logo, established 2023, and the multi-use facility so people can play basketball, pickleball, badminton, football, volleyball, and tennis all in this facility, and they can now do it at night. Thanks for watching. I'm Terry Peterman, the Internet Electrician. If you haven't done so already, I wish you would like and subscribe to my channel. Help me build my momentum here on this channel, and I appreciate you watching very much. Till next time.